Yes, Chamberlain, I'm also wondering if that's a price-fixing policy is good for business also, because the general rule is when you supply, when you have supply in the market, then the price has no choice but to taper. But when we go the way of fixing prices, that's where we see the black markets. Remember when the government closed the borders for importation of rice, even up till now, we see a lot of foreign rice, and then the price tells you what is going on right there. Even the FX situation, when the rate is fixed, which is one of the reasons why the CBN has removed that cap for IMTOs for dollars, or selling or buying of dollars. So that is supposed to discourage black markets. So when we go the route of fixing prices, then we know that we are opening the legal window for activities to boost. But thank you so much. And of course, the economy is on the top front burner for everybody at this time. Even our political programs do not have a choice but also delve into the economy. Welcome to Business Morning here on Sunrise Daily. We are not discussing anything different from what you heard from our Sunrise team right there, because that's the most, the hottest and the most burning issue. Oh, apart from the AFCON, congratulations Nigerians for that win yesterday against South Africa. Very close one. I know our hearts were beating. Every one of these days talk about the business of football, business of sports, but congratulations. At least we have that to smile about. But the economy obviously is nothing to smile about, or majorly nothing to smile about at this time. But let's start from the global space before we come back home to Nigeria and tell you about the grain in the global space. Chicago soybeans lost more ground on Thursday, while corn prices traded close to a 3-year low that it hit in the previous session, as improved weather in Argentina and Brazil boosted expectations of abundant supplies. Let's look at the prices right there. We see wheat was down 0.5%. The price is $5.99 for a bushel. And then soybeans also dropped 0.1% at $11.88 for a quarter of a bushel. Corn followed suit, also down 0.1% at $4.33 for 3/4 of a bushel. And we know that the weather, of course, is a major one, and there's still forecasts of more favorable weather in South America, mainly in Argentina, which have raised hopes of even bigger crops. So, of course, when we see, just what I said at the beginning, when we see more supply, then the prices will drop in any market at all. And from there, we go to the global oil space and tell you that oil extended gains on Thursday after Israel rejected a ceasefire offer from the Hamas, while a weaker dollar also supported prices. Brent crude, we have the number right there, $79.51 a barrel. It's gained 0.4%. Here, supply is squeezed, because of the rejection of that offer. So we see it's gaining 0.4%. The U.S. crude, also WTI, gains 0.4% at $74.12. Needless to say that this is what Nigeria trades on, and once the price goes up, it is to the benefit of Nigeria on one side, because we still import, the refined one. That is the negative part. That's why it affects as well. Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu rejected that latest offer right there. But U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has said that there was still room for negotiations towards an agreement. The Palestinian Hamas delegation, led by senior official Khalil Al-Hayya, was due to travel today to Cairo for ceasefire talks with Egypt and Qatar. And we know, obviously, the outcome of that is going to move these prices either upward or downwards. Now, let's come back to Nigeria now. In the oil space, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has announced the commencement of oil production from the Akpo West field, recording 14,000 barrels a day. Increase of supply, good news. The NNPCL made this announcement on its X handle yesterday, and this will be followed up by the production of about 4 million cubic meters of gas per day by 2028. Akku West, located 135 kilometers offshore, stands as a remarkable discovery on PML2, complementing the Akku Main, which commenced operations in 2009 and boasts a production of 124,000 barrels of oil equivalent every day in 2023. And well, good news, a little bit of relief now, about 24 hours after the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the NNPC, Mr. Olufemi Shuneye, shared the company statement about the tightness experienced in certain areas that was due to brief distribution issue, according to him. He promised us that it had been resolved, and yesterday this time we still had the queues, but thankfully this morning there's been ease. We've noticed a lot of NNPC outlets are now dispensing. And of course, there are long crowds there because people want to fill up their tanks, even though we're still awaiting the spread to other filling stations. But the good news is we have started seeing ease of the queues at the filling stations. And we hope that by the close of work today, that would have spread to other filling stations. Now back to that hot issue in Nigeria. 2 days after many residents of Minna in Niger State's capital trooped out to protest high cost of living in the country, others have joined in neighboring Suleja, also in the state. They've staged a protest over the same matter. We did talk about the possibility of this spreading. Well, the protest, this was yesterday, was only a few kilometers away from the federal capital territory. Do we see the bug being caught in Abuja? And it's coming after the police in the state's command said that they had arrested 25 persons who led the protest on Monday. Remember, the ruling party, the APC, had also accused the opposition that they are the ones behind this protest. And somebody will ask, are we using the same market? Are we shopping from the same markets? If you say that people are not really hungry. Well, you can see that there were people carrying placards with various inscriptions such as Nigerians are suffering, stop the hardship now. Similar protests also held in Lokoja as traders took to the streets over the incessant high cost of essential commodities across the state. The protest was organized. The one in Suleja was organized by market women and men, and they had markers in their hundreds protesting vehemently for that. Remember that the President Bola Tinubu, had directed that the food intervention should be provided. We've also seen the governor of Niger State also speak and rule out some measures that should be used to curb this, and we hope that it's actually effective enough, even though some of those statements have also generated some reactions. You know, people can have money and you cannot buy in bulk. Well, different ways of managing the issue, but we certainly want a lasting solution to this. So we shouldn't be surprised that the Federal High Court in Lagos ordered the federal government to fix the prices of goods and petroleum products within 7 days from February the 7th. Justice Ambrose Lewis Alagua granted the order sequel to an originating motion filed and argued by the applicant, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana. The Senior Advocate of Nigeria had dragged the Price Control Board and the Attorney General of the Federation to determine whether, by virtue of Section 4(1) of the Price Control Act, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, the first defendant is carrying out its duty to impose a price on any goods that are of the kind specified in the first schedule to the price controller. We need to know that there are some product or food items that have been listed here, like milk, you know, the dairies and all of that. But let's talk about this and a whole lot more now with the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Rewane. Mr. Rewane, good morning. I know there's been protests, we've been seeing it and all of that, but I don't know, somewhere in my mind, I did not expect the courts to get involved. You know, but what are the implications of this order 7 days from yesterday? What happens if nothing is done, if it's still the same situation? What are the opportunities available to Nigerians through this?
First of all, this is one of the side effects of a democratic setting. Everybody has rights and everybody has fundamental human rights as well. So I think somebody had gone to court to ask for an interpretation of the Act, the Price Control Act, and try to superimpose that on the price of petroleum products. But like one of the other speakers said earlier on, the fact is that there is a PIA, which is a Petroleum Industry Act, which states clearly that the price of petroleum products are deregulated. Therefore, in law, I'm not a lawyer, the later laws take precedence over the earlier laws. And it's only when there's a conflict between the laws and the Constitution that the Constitution takes precedence. But let's look at it from a macroeconomic perspective. The reality is that if you fix prices, then the laws of demand and supply break down. And if you are having an open market system in terms of reform and all of that, and you want investors to come into this country, you cannot fix prices. Therefore, it's totally inconsistent and incompatible with macroeconomic principles in modern day economics, and also it is inconsistent also with the investment-led strategy which this country has embarked upon over the last few years.
So now that we see this, maybe it's a lawyer that should answer this, what could happen, but we can talk about the spread of the protest. And this is the fear, because 2020 is not so far away. And once we see protests spreading, then we know the chaos that could come out of it. And then we say, oh, the protest has gotten out of hand and all of that. But the truth is people are hungry and people just want to be heard and they want to see. I know that the guest on the Sunrise program, Sunrise Daily program, had said perhaps it is the issue of communication. Now, Mr. Rewane, you are close to, the corridors of power. Is there something that we do not know which the government is doing, to deal with this situation of high cost of living?
First of all, I'm not close to any corridor of power, but the truth is that the cost of living crisis is a carryover and a spillover from high inflation. High inflation is a spillover of low productivity. Low productivity is also a consequence of low investment. So you are looking at a picture, a macroeconomic picture, which shows some amount of failure and stress in the system. How do we solve it? We don't solve it with riots. We don't solve it with protests. All you need to do is to understand it and come clean to the people that this is the situation and these are the programs that we have in place. And then let the programs be real and credible. Right now, the reason why you're having this riot is that people feel hopeless. And it's fueled on by other factors, but people feel a bit hopeless and they need to be reassured that one, things are happening, two, that they will see results very soon. And also three, is that the people who are preaching reform cannot be seen to be living ostentatiously, right, in lavish lifestyles, while the people are suffering.
I guess that would be a bigger communication to Nigerians. If we see the squeeze affecting the elites in the country, then Nigerians could say, well, we are all affected and we are waiting for the result. But let's move a little bit away from not too far, because we're talking about the value of the naira, which is an offshoot of inflation. And we learned that the CBN met with BDCs yesterday, still talking about the FX rate and all of that. Could you tell us what you know about this, sir?
Well, I understand that there were meetings, and basically there are two elements here. Mr. Cardozo's administration has embarked on what we call the feedback rule. He consults with participants and stakeholders. He internalizes what he has heard, and he comes back with guidelines which are not disruptive. So I think that in trying to understand the market structure, from the banks to the oil companies to the BDCs, he is consulting widely so that they can come up with guidelines that will allow the market to become more efficient, and that the price discovery mechanism, which is trying to embark upon, can be much more efficient. So I think that's what it is. Has it resulted in anything yet? No. The consultation is the first step. The guidelines that will follow will be the next step. And then the market will react if they believe it, and the market will react either positively if they believe it, or negatively if they do not believe it. So Nigeria has its work cut out for itself. And as we speak, the market, the naira traded at about 1,518 naira in the parallel market. The official market is still about 1,480 or something like that. So the convergence, the difference between the parallel market and the official market is almost like 1%, 2%, which is fair enough. Now, what will make the official market and the parallel market appreciate happen? A couple of things. One, we just announced that the Akpo field is going to be producing an extra maybe 20,000 barrels of oil a day. That kind of information feeds into the system where the higher the oil production, the higher the oil revenue. The higher the oil revenue, the stronger the naira becomes. Two, remove all these restrictions. There are too many restrictions. Dismantle too many of them so that monies can come in. I think we've seen something with the IMTOs and all. So if those monies start to come in, and people are now clear that there's consistency between the restriction, between the policies, the guidelines, and the market expectation, you will see that the market naira was begin to appreciate. But one important thing that happened yesterday was that the treasury rate went as high as 19% for 365 days and 17% for 90 days. That significant increase in the interest rates closer to the level of inflation will tell you immediately that the naira should appreciate. Technically and theoretically, the naira should appreciate today. The casualty of this process is that the higher interest rates is going to knock the stock market. I can assure you, the stock market is going to be plenty of red ink today because people are going to take their money from equities and put it in government treasury bills and the money markets. Yeah,
well, because investors will always look for where the higher income or higher profits will come from. But I mean, still talking about the naira, with all of the steps that the central bank has taken and conversations, consultations, as you've noted right there, it will still take a while before this drives down to the commodities market.
No, not really. You see, what has happened is that global commodity prices are dropping, while domestic commodity prices are increasing because of the exchange rate pass-through. Now that you've taken some steps on the interest rates, the next step is mopping up liquidity. After you mop up liquidity, immediately after, the transmission lag is not as long as you think. In a few days, the people realize because you are every day replenishing your inventory. So if you have to replenish your inventory at a lower price than it was, you begin to reflect that in the price. If not, you'll be stuck with old inventory and expensive stock, and you won't be able to sell that, and that will put you in a uncompetitive position relative to your rivals in that market. So what are we seeing? We've seen domestic commodity prices. Noodles are up 35% in the last 3 months. We've seen wheat, flour up significantly higher. Some of it are up, and diesel is the main thing. We saw diesel go up, maybe because of the shortage, maybe because of something else, but we saw it go up to 1,350 naira yesterday at the retail level for diesel. And there's a strong correlation between the price of diesel, the price of logistics to distribute goods, and also the level of inflation in the country. That's very clear. So there's something to worry about in terms of domestic prices. The inflation projections for January are not looking that good. I think they're looking closer to 29.8 or 29.9, which is virtually 30%. And the following month also, something higher. So when you have the cost of living crisis that you're seeing in Suleja and Mina, you're seeing the exchange rate being sticky in a particular level. And we are seeing other, we are now just beginning to see the higher interest rates, which will have its impact on consumption. It will take at least another month or so before we begin to see the direct impact of this in lower prices, higher productivity, and higher investment. But there's a lot of work to be done.
And I guess one of that work to sustain, any form of boost to the naira or reduction in inflation will also have to face a security issue, especially when it has to do with agricultural production.
Definitely. Because once movement is restricted because of security concerns. It means that goods will not move. If goods cannot move, that means even if you produce, the supply will not get to the market. Supply does not get to the market, prices remain high. And prices remain high, you have cost of living crisis and demonstration like you've seen all over the place. So you have to solve this thing comprehensively, not in isolation.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Bismarck Rewane, Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll turn our attention to something Mr. Rewane mentioned, which is what happened with the treasury bill yesterday. The Central Bank of Nigeria sold a record 1 trillion naira at the treasury bill auction yesterday, with the 364-day treasury bill stop rate spiking to 19% per annum. Details we have right there on the screen. Let's look at it. The auction date for the February 7, 2024, that's going to mature February 7, 2024 we saw that, okay, this is not really what I want. Okay, but we did have a whole lot of movement there. You have it there. So you see the offer of 100 billion, 200 billion right there. And then you see the subscription and see the stop rates right there. So the highest yesterday for the stop rate was at 19%, and we had the lowest at 17.24%. These are the range of bids and the allotment. So it was a booming fixed income market yesterday, unlike what we've been having at the NGX. And that's why Mr. Rewane thinks that today the market, the NGX, the equities market, might end in the red, as we would see investors, conditional investors, move to the fixed income market. We saw that the one-year bill witnessed a threefold oversubscription of about 1.8 trillion naira compared to 600 billion naira that was on offer. But yesterday, Ladi spoke to the head assets and liabilities at UBA to give a little bit of perspective to this. Mr. Chuka Nwachukwu spoke on this.
Well over 400 basis point movement in rate for the 1 year, from 11.54 to about 19%. That's a huge increment. This is industry watchers have actually anticipated this, especially with the fact that the CBN pronouncement from the CBN governor of late, talking about encouraging foreign investors. The government, through the CBN, is doing everything possible to encourage foreign investors to come in. You've noticed that on the auction as well, we saw a subscription well over 1.6 trillion was a subscription, and then 1 trillion was offered and sold. This going forward is what we expect. We expect to see high yield, and this will continue to encourage foreign investors as well as local investors.
Okay, now let's speak to Mr. Bosun Obembe now, fixed income and FX dealer with Access Bank, to share his own view too. And tell us, Mr. Obembe, good morning. What did you guys do to the market yesterday? I mean, 1 trillion, it went from 400 billion to 1 trillion on offer, but investors were willing to give more than 2 trillion. What was the attraction? Obviously, the yields.
Exactly. Good morning. Thank you for having me. The yield is the attraction. So if you look at the stop rate, which is invariably meaning that the government is borrowing at 23%, that is fantastic yield. I don't know any of the corporate that is doing dividend yield of 23%, and this is risk-free. So what this entails, I think, is in a bid to actually attract the foreign portfolio investors. So, the way in which we get FX is through maybe FDI, FPI. So, and the foreign portfolio investors, they are saying that the current levels before now, which we have maybe 11% on 1 year, that is too low. So what the CBN has done is to actually work together with the DMO to attract these foreign investors so that they can bring this FS flow, and at a current yield of 23% and sub rate of 19 is a very attractive one. So meaning that as an investor, if I bring in fund at say 14.50, and I make a return of 23%. If rate doesn't depreciate to like maybe 1.7, it's still a positive carry for me. So it's a very good one, and we can see the impact on turnover in the high earning window. If you see the turnover this week, we witnessed about $1.2 billion in turnover. On Monday, it was $584 million. On Tuesday, $465 million. And yesterday, $203 million. And with the auction result, which I think there was a meeting the governor had with the investor where he told them about the reform he's trying to do. And it's like what he has said, he has stopped. They can see it in the auction result. I think we'll start seeing this flow, even though this is a short-time fix, but it's a good one for the market.
Yeah, so we had Mr. Rewane there say that he sees investors moving from the NGX to the fixed income. But as you said, I mean, it's 23%, you know, and all of that. But some people just need the money to come out quick. You have to wait for a year, at least 365 days. Do you really see that movement to fixed income? How long do you see these being sustained in the fixed income space?
Yeah, I think I want to support that. I see that movement coming into the fixed income. You know, if you invest in the equity, you face there are risks that you face. So if the company doesn't make money, you don't get to pay dividend. You don't get dividend. But this is risk-free, and you don't need to wait for 1 year before you can actually exit. So because you have secondary market for this instrument, so you can sell it before 1 year, and by the time we start seeing this book coming, the yield might go down, and when the yield goes down, you can sell and make money. So I think it's a good one, even for retail investor. I think one of the reasons why CBN has done this is to actually discourage people from maybe you are converting your naira and investing it in a USD instrument, because there is no USD instrument that will give you this return. It's massive, and we have another auction coming up in the next 2 weeks. We have about 265 billion in the next 2 weeks, but I believe the DMO working with the CBN, they will upsize it, because for this one we're expecting about 437 billion maturing today, but the DMO upsized it to 1 trillion. So meaning that 1 trillion was raised. That is additional 582 billion was raised yesterday, but at a fantastic yield. So it's good, really.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Obebe, for your time this morning. We'll see what happens to the NGX today and tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, Will Ibor will be drilling on that much more at 1 p.m. during Business Incorporated, so you don't want to miss it. Perhaps that's where you want to put your money at this time. You may make some money. All right, just before our time runs out, let's see what happened at the market at the NGX yesterday. Yes, we celebrate the fixed income market. It did so well, and to the detriment of the NGX, unfortunately. It was a little unchanged, a little bit down, though, very minute. That's why it was unchanged. Not very bright colors there, gray, because undecided. And the equities cap is at 55 trillion naira. The volume was totally in red yesterday from the volume, the value, and the deals. I mean, we normally would have a double thousands right there, but we see it dropped about more than 17%. Value less than more than 15% was off the money in the market, the value of the capital market yesterday, and then volume also was down more than 10%. And banking again sustained that profit taking was sustained on it. Consumer goods, however, was in the green. Industrial goods marginally down. Insurance just coming up has also joined, and oil and gas remains unchanged yesterday. Top trades had Transco, FBN Holding, and GT Core right there for the top trades. So let's see if the fixed income guys will win today. But that depends on you, you know. If you decide to put your money at the equities, then the equities will win. You are the one who decides. But thank you so much for spending this time with us. Don't go anywhere, because the Sunrise team will be right back with another very interesting conversation.